Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be diving deep into a topic that I think a lot of us think about, avoiding regret and like really living up to our potential.
Yeah.
And we're going to be exploring a lot of the themes from the Awaken Your Potential YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
Familiar with that?
Yeah, I've seen some of their videos.
Yeah, they're great. I like their
Yep.
stuff.
They're a really fantastic resource for all things personal growth,
Yeah.
self-discovery, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And especially their latest video, just it really got me thinking. And so I wanted to kind of dive into this question of how do we escape that trap of like, what if,
Man.
and really make the most of our lives, you know?
Yeah, and they start off the video with this really powerful image of this like gnawing sensation of like what if.
Yeah.
And I think that really resonated with me because it's not just about wishing we had done things differently. It's kind of like this lingering feeling that we've betrayed our own potential somehow.
Right.
And I think that's something that most of us can relate to on some level.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like that little voice in the back of your head like, "Oh, what if I had taken that chance?" Or what if I had, actually spoken my truth?
Totally.
And the video goes on to remind us that time is like this precious resource that we have, and it's constantly ticking away.
Right.
We can't rewind it. We can't pause it.
Yeah. And that's where I think the real urgency comes in. It's not about like pressuring ourselves or anything like that, but it's about recognizing that we have this limited amount of time
Right.
to actually like go after our dreams and like truly live.
Yeah.
What I find so fascinating is when you look at like people who are nearing the end of their lives, like a lot of the regrets that they have, it's not about material things they didn't acquire or
Yeah.
whatever. It's about
Yeah.
experiences they missed out on or not living authentically.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
less about like, oh, what if I had bought that fancy car? And more about like, what if I had actually, pursued that passion for painting?
Right.
Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The video uses this really great analogy. It's like we're all stuck in this play with like a pre-written script,
Uh-huh.
and we're just kind of following someone else's expectations instead of actually crafting our own story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Awaken Your Potential comes in. They're really urging us to break free from those expectations
Yeah.
and define success on our own terms.
I love that. And, it's about recognizing that there's no one-size-fits-all definition of success.
For sure.
Like, it's very personal.
Totally.
So it's more about, like, asking ourselves those questions, like, what lights me up? What brings me joy and fulfillment? What are the things that actually make me feel alive?
Right.
And those answers, those are like our compass,
Yeah.
pointing us towards a life that's truly aligned with what we want and what we value.
And I think that could be so tough these days because we're just
Yeah.
bombarded with messages about what we should be doing, what success should look like.
Totally.
It's so easy to get caught up in that comparison game,
Oh, absolutely.
and lose sight of what actually matters to us.
Yeah.
And the video talks about this trap of busyness, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like we can get stuck on this hamster wheel of just doing,
Yeah.
and never stopping to ask ourselves, like, is this actually getting me where I want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we confuse motion with progress a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm so busy, I must be productive,
Right.
But real productivity is about aligning our actions with our values.
Yes.
It's about prioritizing experiences over possessions, nurturing meaningful relationships, and like actually making time for the things that bring us joy.
right.
Awaken your potential. Really emphasizes like stepping off that hamster wheel
Yeah.
and like finding a pace that allows us to really savor the present moment.
And that ties into this whole idea that happiness isn't a destination, right?
Right.
It's a journey.
It's not like we just get there.
Yeah, it's not something you achieve once you've like checked off all the boxes on your to-do list.
Exactly.
It's about finding that joy and fulfillment in those everyday moments, in the process of working towards your goals and the connections we create along the way.
Yeah.
And Awaken Your Potential
Yeah.
really emphasizes mindfulness as a key to actually experiencing that present moment joy.
And what's interesting about mindfulness is it's not about like emptying your mind or blocking out the world or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
more about like paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations without judgment.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating this kind of awareness that allows you to make conscious choices about how you respond to the world around you.
Right.
And I think Awaken Your Potential does a really fantastic job of giving you those practical tools and techniques
Yeah.
for actually cultivating mindfulness in your everyday life.
I agree. I think they do a great job of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that means taking action even when we don't feel 100% ready.
Oh, for sure.
The video talks about embracing imperfect action,
Yeah.
right? Like overcoming that fear of failure and just starting, even if it's messy.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get stuck in that like analysis paralysis,
Yeah.
just waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan.
Yeah.
But as they say in the video, perfect is the enemy of good.
So true.
And sometimes that first step, that imperfect action, is all it takes to like unlock this whole new world of possibilities.
It reminds me of that analogy of like building a muscle, you know?
Yeah,
You don't start by lifting the heaviest weight. You start small and you gradually increase the resistance over time.
right.
It's the same with personal growth. It's those small, consistent actions, those daily habits and choices that like compound over time
Yeah.
and lead to these incredible transformations.
It's like the snowball effect.
Exactly. And what I appreciate about Awaken Your Potential is they not only encourage you to take action,
Yeah.
but they actually give you the tools and techniques to do it.
That's what I find so helpful about their content. It's not just like motivational fluff.
Right.
It's actionable advice.
Yes.
So for our listeners out there who are ready to take that first step, what are some things they can do to actually start living with less regret and more intention?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's crucial to define what success actually means to you.
Okay.
Not based on societal expectations or what someone else tells you it should be,
Right.
but based on your own values and aspirations.
Yeah.
So take some time to really reflect on what matters most to you, like what brings you joy, what are you passionate about, what kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Yeah.
And then don't be afraid to challenge those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back.
That's huge, right?
That is.
Because we often inherit these beliefs about, what we should be doing or who we should be.
Right.
And we don't even question them.
Yeah, and they're often not even ours to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So taking the time to really examine those and see if they're actually serving us, that's so powerful.
It is.
And once you have like a clearer sense of your values and aspirations, then you can start setting goals that are actually aligned with them.
Exactly. And here's the key.
Yeah.
Break those big, audacious goals down
Yeah.
into smaller, more manageable steps.
Yeah.
Because that makes the process less overwhelming and it gives you a sense of accomplishment
Totally.
as you check those smaller goals off your list.
It's like creating a roadmap.
Yes, exactly.
Like breaking it down into those smaller milestones. And it's so much easier to stay motivated when you feel like you're actually making progress.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And remember, it's okay to adjust your course along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Life is full of surprises, and your goals may evolve as you learn and grow.
Yeah.
What's important is to stay connected to those values
Yes.
and to be flexible enough to adapt to changing circumstances.
I love that you mentioned flexibility because it ties into that whole idea of embracing imperfection,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Totally.
being okay with making mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward.
Right.
It's about letting go of that need to control everything and just trusting that the journey is going to unfold as it's meant to.
So much easier said than done, though.
Oh my gosh, yes, especially in a world that like values perfectionism and control
Yes.
so much.
Yeah.
But embracing imperfection is really about recognizing that we're all works in progress,
Yeah.
It's about giving ourselves permission to be human, to stumble and fall and to rise again,
Right.
stronger and wiser. And I think one of the things that Awaken Your Potential does so well is they create that space where
Right.
it's okay to be vulnerable,
Right.
to share your struggles and celebrate your victories.
It's like they've built this incredible community
They have.
of like-minded individuals who are all on this journey of self-discovery and growth.
Yeah. And, finding your tribe,
Yeah.
connecting with those people who support your growth can be so motivating and inspiring.
For sure.
It can provide that extra boost of accountability and encouragement.
Yeah. When you need it most.
Exactly.
Right.
And what I love about the Awaken Your Potential community is it's not just about like consuming content.
Yeah.
It's about engaging in these meaningful conversations. We're
Yeah.
sharing insights and supporting each other along the way.
Yeah. So we've talked about defining our own success, setting aligned goals, taking imperfect action, finding our tribe.
Yeah,
It's a lot to take in,
it is.
but it's so empowering.
It is.
And it all comes back to this core idea of living authentically,
Yes.
aligning our actions with our values,
Yes,
and creating a life that truly reflects who we are and what we want to contribute to the world.
exactly. And that journey of self-discovery, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn, more to explore, more to experience.
It's a lifelong journey, right?
It is, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And it can also be kind of overwhelming too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, where do we even begin? how do we make sense of all these ideas and actually put them into practice in our daily lives?
That's a great question, and it leads us to a really crucial aspect of personal growth that Awaken Your Potential
Hmm.
emphasizes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Self-awareness.
Okay.
It's the foundation
Yeah.
upon which everything else is built,
Right?
Without a deep understanding of ourselves, our values, our strengths, our weaknesses, um, even like those hidden patterns that are driving our
Yeah.
behaviors, it's almost impossible to create any kind of lasting change.
So it's not just about knowing what we want. It's like understanding why we want it
Yes.
and how our own internal programming might be helping or hindering us along the way.
Exactly. It's about like peeling back the layers, getting to know yourself on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And that can be uncomfortable at times.
Right, for sure.
It might mean like confronting some limiting beliefs.
Right.
Those voices in our heads that tell us, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah.
And recognizing the ways in which we might be self-sabotaging, holding ourselves back from truly living our potential.
So how do we actually cultivate this self-awareness?
Yeah.
It feels like such a big concept.
It is.
Where do we even begin?
Oh, there's no like magic bullet or anything like that, but there are certain practices that can help.
Okay.
And Awaken Your Potential has a ton of resources on this. They talk a lot about mindfulness,
Right.
which we touched on before as a way to kind of observe your thoughts and feelings
Yeah.
without judgment.
Right.
It's like creating space between yourself and your reactions,
Okay.
allowing yourself to respond with more intention and less reactivity.
And that makes sense. So it's like instead of just getting swept away by our emotions, we're actually like learning to pause,
Yes.
to observe them,
Yeah.
and then make a conscious choice about how we want to respond.
Exactly. And they also talk about the power of journaling.
Yeah.
Like actually writing down your thoughts and feelings as a way to kind of process them and gain clarity. And there's so much value in having honest conversations with trusted friends or mentors,
Right.
people who can offer you a different perspective and help you to see yourself more clearly.
Yeah. It sounds like it's really about creating that multifaceted approach. Mindfulness reflection through journaling.
Yeah.
Seeking those outside perspectives.
Yeah,
And it's a process too, right?
it is.
It's not like we achieve self-awareness and then we're done.
Right.
Like we're constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And as we deepen our self-awareness, something really interesting starts to happen.
Okay. What's that?
We begin to live more authentically.
Okay.
Our actions become more aligned with our values.
Yeah.
And we naturally start attracting people and experiences that resonate with our true selves.
Wow.
It's like creating this positive feedback loop
That's awesome.
where self-awareness leads to authenticity, which leads to even greater self-awareness.
I like that.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, it seems like the key takeaways from Awaken Your Potential are to define success on your own terms. Cultivate self-awareness. Prioritize what truly matters.
Yeah.
Take imperfect action.
Yep.
Find your tribe.
Yes.
And embrace the present moment.
Beautifully said.
Right.
Yes. And remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination.
Right?
It's about embracing the process, celebrating the wins, learning from the setbacks, and constantly striving to become the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And what I love about Awaken Your Potential is they provide so much support and guidance along the way.
Yeah, they do.
Their channel is just this wealth of resources, offering practical tools, inspiring stories, and, a community of like-minded individuals who are all on this journey together.
So for anyone listening who is feeling that gnawing sensation of what if,
Yeah.
or just wanting to live a more fulfilling life, I highly recommend checking out Awaken Your Potential.
Yes.
Their content really complements what we've been talking about today,
Right.
and it might just be the catalyst you need to start living with less regret and more intention.
As we've been talking, I've been thinking about that question from the video.
Okay.
What's one area of your life where you feel that sense of what if? And what's one small step you can take today to move closer to the life with less regret and more fulfillment?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this grand gesture, just a small step in the right direction.
I love that's such a powerful question to leave our listeners with.
I think so too.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
We hope so.
And remember, you have the power to create a life you love, a life that's aligned with your values and full of purpose and joy.
You do.
So go out there and awaken your potential.
Yes. And it feels like we've kind of been dancing around this idea of self-awareness
Yeah.
and how crucial it is to this whole process, you know?
Absolutely. It feels like it's like the foundation of everything.
It is the foundation upon which everything else is built.
Yeah.
Without a deep understanding of ourselves, like you said, our values, our strengths, our weaknesses, even those hidden patterns that are driving our behaviors,
Right.
it's almost impossible to create any kind of lasting change.
Yeah. So it's not just about knowing what we want.
Right.
It's about understanding why we want it
Yes.
and how our own, like you said, internal programming might be helping us or hindering us
Yes.
along the way.
Exactly. It's about peeling back the layers, you know?
Yeah.
Getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And that can be uncomfortable at times.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, it might mean confronting some limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Those voices in our heads that tell us, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do that.
Right. Those nasty little voices.
Yes. And recognizing the ways in which we might be self-sabotaging.
Right.
Holding ourselves back from truly living our potential.
So how do we actually cultivate this self-awareness?
Right?
It feels like such a big concept.
It is a big...
Like, where do we even begin?
Well, there's no magic bullet or anything, but there's certain practices that can help.
Yeah.
And Awaken Your Potential really emphasizes a lot of these. They talk a lot about mindfulness, which we touched on before, as a way to kind of observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's like creating space between yourself and your reactions.
Yeah.
Allowing yourself to respond with more intention and less reactivity.
That makes a lot of sense. So instead of just being swept away by our emotions, we're actually learning to pause,
Yes.
observe them,
Exactly.
and then make that conscious choice about how we want to respond.
Exactly. And they also talk about the power of journaling,
Yeah.
like actually writing down your thoughts and feelings as a way to kind of process them and gain clarity.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that's super helpful.
It really is.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of value in having honest conversations with trusted friends or mentors,
Yeah.
people who can offer you a different perspective
Right.
and help you to see yourself more clearly.
So it sounds like it's really about creating that multifaceted approach,
Yeah.
like mindfulness reflection through journaling, seeking those outside perspectives.
Exactly.
And it's a process, right?
It is.
It's not like we achieve self-awareness and then we're done.
Right. It's a lifelong journey.
Yeah, like we're constantly evolving.
We are. And, as we deepen our self-awareness, something really interesting starts to happen.
Oh, what's that?
We begin to live more authentically.
Okay.
Our actions become more aligned with our values.
Yeah.
And we naturally start attracting people and experiences that resonate with our true selves.
That's so cool.
It's like creating this positive feedback loop
I love that.
where self-awareness leads to authenticity, which leads to even greater self-awareness.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up for today,
Mm.
it seems like the key takeaways from Awaken Your Potential are to define success on your own terms,
Uh-huh.
cultivate self-awareness,
Yes.
prioritize what truly matters,
Yeah.
take imperfect action, find your tribe,
Uh-huh.
and embrace the present moment.
Beautifully said. I love it.
It's a lot.
It is.
But it's so good.
It is. And remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's about embracing the process, celebrating the wins, learning from the setbacks, and constantly striving to become the best versions of ourselves.
And Awaken Your Potential
Mm-hmm.
really gives us the tools to do that.
They do. Their channel is like this treasure trove of resources,
yes.
offering practical tools, inspiring stories, and a community of like-minded individuals who are all on this journey together.
It's really inspiring.
It is.
So for anyone listening who is feeling that gnawing sensation of what if,
Yeah.
or just wanting to live a more fulfilling life,
Uh-huh.
I highly recommend checking out Awaken Your Potential.
Absolutely.
Their content really complements what we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
And it might just be the catalyst you need to start living with less regret and more intention.
As we've been talking, I keep thinking about that question from the video.
Oh, yeah.
What's one area of your life where you feel that sense of what if?
Mm.
And what's one small step you can take today to move closer to a life with less regret and more fulfillment?
It's a good question.
It doesn't have to be this grand gesture,
Right.
just a small step in the right direction.
I love that that's such a powerful question to leave our listeners with.
I think so too.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
We hope so.
And remember, you have the power to create a life you love, a life that's aligned with your values and full of purpose and joy.
You absolutely do.
So go out there and awaken your potential.
Yeah.